And of course, I knew I was gonna do it for me, but ain't nothing like when you kind of, I'm seeing it, So of course, I took the notes that I did for when it came time to apply it to myself,
Oh, when you were working with him, yeah. Mm-hmm. Has it been helpful?
Of course. And of course, when you love it so much, which I can tell you do too, even not working with nobody, just seeing stuff, you look at things with a different eye.
Exactly.
Like now, even movies, I can't look at with a full consumer eye.
Exactly.
So yes, you know what I mean.
I know exactly what you mean. And it makes it so much more exciting, and there's so much more to life than you realize. It just makes life, there's like a sense of awe that I think that I approach things with now. Yeah. Because like, oh my gosh, you just realize how much went into everything that you're watching. Yeah. Right?
Touche.
Yeah. But yeah, it's just fun just to play around. Like, it took me a lot to get out of this mindset of like I'm wasting time or what am I doing, like all of that, and just to get like, you know what, everything that you do is leading to whatever happens, like whatever.
Well, believe it or not, part of that mindset that you have is what got you looking like you damn near 25. I would not have put you at 36, seriously.
Oh, thank you.
You have a very youthful there's only a few that can do that,
Thank you. Oh,
that's one of the main elements of being an artist is, you stop the hands of aging time with you a little,
Interesting. Is that a thing?
I think when you're so fruitful or kind of that going, it's less stress.
Yes.
And stress, I think, is what ages and has you.
Yeah. Honestly, I feel and look younger than I did when I was in my 20s. Like, I have fewer wrinkles now.
What's wild is that I do believe, those are those power mind things. I'm not just the best, but I do believe it all starts in the brain. Like, you can control some things. I'm just scratching the surface on stuff. I ain't even looked down deep that rabbit hole, but I'm aware of it,
And I've with meditation, I've gone deep with energy healing and just like a lot of just like clearing out.
Yeah.
Landmark. Another plug. I guess for me, it's like that's where it started, and I know that it's like such a completed package.
Yeah.
It's like it's been around it's been around since the 80s. So at this point, they have it so nailed down.
Just nailed down.
Yeah, like it's so concise. It's like it's 3 days, obviously, because consider that you've been living 42 years.
Ain't got no book around this on internet on this or nothing that I can cheat on. I have to do this.
You have to do it.
All right. So yeah, you ask the questions and I'll go into it or whatever.
But what were we talking about before? Okay, so tell us how do you pronounce your last name?
Hakizimana. Hakizimana means at the time when I got it, and just to break down how that happened, I was 20. I was dealing with the Shrine of the Black Madonna, which is kind of like an African, real eccentric Christian church. Mm-hmm. And basically, when you get to a certain part in your spirituality growth, you get like a rites of passage name. You kind of pretty much have something to do with the name you pick. Well, the name I came with, and of course, being a musician and an artist, I saw Daraja Hakizimana. Hakizimana means it's God who saves, and the Daraja part means it's a bridge to. So.
Wow, oh my God, that just hit me.
Yeah, a bridge to salvation, some would put it to. Now, I've had people over time say that's a Swahili name. I've even had some people say, I think a Japanese guy said that's in, like, the Hakizi means something, power or stuff. So I've had a few people give me different meanings and what it means. So as long as it's positive, I'm all for it, Mm-hmm. So I'm still learning, in different places, or I guess regions of what it means, for that life or so. But definitely, I think the main thing it all symbolizes to spirituality, God,
Yeah, no, that's yes. I feel that's really beautiful. So I think what we were actually talking about earlier was, so your day, like, you're a complex person.
My complex person. That goes back into relationship life almost a little bit. I'm 40. In January. I have kids. I have a mom and dad. So, and that's what's crazy. With 24 hours of the day, I tend to kind of check on everybody. So I guess going back to that question again, how much time do I have to myself? Not as much as I thought. When you kind of these other things add to how you feel later. You know what I mean? Okay, let me check on mom, make sure she's okay. Let me check on this person, make sure the kid's all right. Or let me touch base or give a phone call. And after you kind of get through those little things, those little mental checklists, is now when you kind of, okay, let me get lost in it. You know, and hopefully it ain't time for something else at that time. And that's the part, I guess you could say, where I'm at right now with the artistry, is that, you know, the grown-up world, the real life sometimes can pull at you more and more and more. And I've done a good job, even though people was like, you had kids, it wasn't pulling at me like it is now, you know, the grown-up life. So that balance is really a key. And the other thing too is, after you put out so many projects like I've done, that thrill of it is not like it was before, you know? Like, I've done it a few times already. So even though I still love doing it, that drive to, okay, let me do this, isn't as hard as it was before. So I have to kind of acknowledge that too, that, okay, so I need more breaks than I did before. I need sometimes those little moments so I can come back at it hard. And then there's sometimes on the schedule, okay, it's time to go at it, and it just ain't there. So then I can't force it either. And I've been in the moments where I used to try to force it. And, you know, and everything has a story. Even though I don't like doing it that way, there's a song there that ain't gonna sound like any other song.
Yeah, of course.
I might not like it, and sometimes I did like it. So that's the good thing I can also say within my artistry that I've done over time, is that I've always continued writing something. Even sometimes if it's not even a song, it might be a poetry. You know, because at the end of the day, all these things is gonna be left behind when you're gone. And I guess in the artistry full world, and of course, part of my love for music is also the love that I've had for a lot of artists that wasn't here. So I had that in my life too, of, hey dad, is this person here? Oh, he's not here no more. He's not, but I was loving their music so much. So it is kind of fascinating to know, you know, this person's on a whole nother path, but this thing's still here that I've had memories, or put a soundtrack to a certain, I went to see this girl, or I kind of had this in the background, you know, those things. So it's cool to be, this is my chance, this is my time. Regardless of the big lights and cameras and all that, that ain't got nothing to do with that connection of someone playing that. There's so many tunes I've played that this person don't even know about, that was like a special moment for me, you know, at a certain little moment. And that's kind of, I guess you could say, what I got in the business for this for, you know?
Right, the lasting connection.
Yeah, those moments that don't really nobody know about. And of course, you know, the more people, the better, you know? But I always would be thinking, man, if this guy knew how many times I listened to this song, or this girl, I've listened to this song like 24 fucking times, like a schizo. Just because I couldn't get enough of it, you know?
And it kind of, it reminds you of your name, like Bridge to God, in the sense of it's a bridge of time and space, and you're really traversing.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, if you're in this same business of doing that, you're going to do it to somebody too. Somebody's going to like your song.
Yeah.
And that's cool to know that someone's geeked out about it like that, you know?
Yeah, that's very true. So wait, how long has it been since you've been, like,
since
releasing?
2000.
Since 2000. Okay, so 20.
Yeah, so 20 years of putting out music. Yeah, first album was Kamikaze, and I come from an R&B background where I wasn't trying to be the rapper, the main guy on the stage. It was kind of like I'm the background guy, where I do all the little music and all the writing. And that's what I really got in it for. I was a big Jodeci fan. Anybody that knows about Jodeci, that Devontae dude was the one that did like most of the writing and Dalvin. That's me. I couldn't sing. Really wasn't a rapper at that time, but I definitely had good lyrics and good writing skills. So I got with a guy named Mitch, and he was a big Jodeci fan too. So, you know, from high school till about 2003, that's kind of my bread and butter. That was kind of like what I did, was just do the R&B thing. And then we kind of split ways. You know, like most groups kind of grew apart. He wanted to do his own thing. And I had other ideas of stuff I wanted to do. Well, once we kind of split up, that definitely broke in. I need to do something else. And it broke, and it was the best thing too, because it put me in a different mind state of artistry, you know, and it just kind of put me more on the front street, which at the end of the day, you can do whatever you want. If you can't sing, you can sing if you really want to. You know, you just got to probably do some practice.
And cultivating your own.
Exactly. So here we are.
So now film, we're going to go to that.
Yeah, and now behind doing that so much, It's been calling me. It's like how music called me back in my early high school days. The whole filming is calling me like hard as I'm doing music. Just because I'm playing around with videos, I'm seeing those lights. And also too, I was a big movie fan. The movie world kind of sucks right now in the writing. I have learned recently, just talking to some other people in kind of like the little film, TV show world, that all the good writers have moved to the series, which is why there's all good TV series and stuff. But just coming from the old movie world, if you really want to see a cool movie, I mean, there's a few, the Marvel. Usually that's all that's out there. But, you know, to really see like a good movie storyline, you gotta have to search and kind of dig. And I'm pretty sure there's some good ones out there, but it's not as much as you would think. You know what I mean? It's more, I think, in the series these days. So, yeah, I just have ideas. I have good little story things that kind of go here and there through my head. I just need to figure out the format and figure out the setup. I don't know if you're familiar with Ice Cube, but he's a good person to kind of pull from, of a person that's coming from where I was, doing the whole doing the music and then just kind of stepping into a different realm. And everybody that I talk to tells me it's the script part. If you can figure out the script and the setup of the script, that's kind of like half the battle. You can kind of go from there of getting it done. So that's the next thing I'm probably have to do, is start really looking at like, okay, certain script of movies that I like, how does the script look? And once you start to see the script broken down, you can now start breaking down your stories, okay, in that format of possibly getting it done, you know. First things first.
Yeah, like, so are there examples of movies? I guess, okay, so starting with music then. So who would be the musicians that you kind of see how your style evolved from?
Prince. I was a big Purple Rain, and especially when you can combine the movie film with the music, you hit a whole different plateau of connecting your song in a different way, especially when you can connect it.
Multi-dimensional.
Yeah, when you can do it with a right movie. Ice Cube Friday. I don't know if you ever seen the Friday series where they all smoking weed and stuff on the porch. Classic. Everybody that, you know, has a friend or lived in the hood has that same scenario of a day. It's certain little things that's so simple that it's genius. And that kind of writing and that kind of filming is what I want. To where you're not really going outside the box, you're just working with what you already got. And I think we all have those moments where, you know, in a good angle, this was a scene.
Yes.
And it's just how many of those moments can hey, stop what you're doing, let's do it. And you add those scenes together and do something. That's what I'm kind of at and trying to figure out how to do. Yeah. Before the time just passes.
I mean, in fact, yes, that's exactly where I'm at too, in terms of stringing along different moments. You have the different scenes in mind already, and so then how do you bring them together? And I think a lot of it is actually...
The script, that's...
No, but a lot of it is also just allowing the story to unfold. I don't know if that happens.
There is a beautiful element, like you said, with that too. And I've done a lot of my stuff kind of with just as we go. So you're right. There's things that you can just let it unfold and see where it goes.
And in some ways, I think this, for me too, I struggled with that, where it's like, I have to get the script form right, and I have to get the acts right, and I have to figure out what, exactly what the formula is beforehand. And I think what I realized is, actually, you know what, everything, the things that we watch that are so formulaic, you get tired of it. And you're just like, all right, okay. Like, a lot of times now when I watch TV with the hero's journey, journey, like, sometimes it's just like, all right, like, I already know exactly what's going to happen. Like, in some ways, it's not, it's just not as compelling. Again, like, when the story is good enough, obviously, I mean, anything is compelling. But when it becomes a little too formulaic, and I think that's...
Get bored with it.
Yeah. And same thing with music, I think, right? Like, when you let things unfold, of course, you have the structure, you have the background, you have the craft that you've already cultivated. But then at some point, it's like, maybe you have to approach your script writing or, like, creating these scenes in the same way that you approach music, which is, okay, you just try little things and then see how they work together, and then, like, you add another thing. Like, it doesn't have to come from a top-down approach where you already know the form, and then you start with what you have and then go up.
I'm so with that. The problem with that, it's not even a problem. I've done that so much with some things. Sometimes you think that you're kind of shortchanging yourself, but you're so right. That is a show in its own, just going that formula. And it's more probably easier for me to go that route.
Yes, exactly. That's what I realized too. And I've struggled so much the other direction, where trying forcing myself into a formula, or forcing myself to do things in the way that other people have done it. And it's like at some point it's like,
well, that's the other thing too, and that's why the beauty of talking with another artist. I don't get this. That's not like I'm on a record label and we're sitting at the community table and it's like, let's talk about the ideas for the week. Sometimes this is as close as you get, and kind of using those moments and recognizing them at the time. And like I said, it's a shame we work at the art store, but we have these kind of talks every now and then. And I tell them, it's like, shit, this is as close as I'm gonna get to being in the A&R department sometimes, and it helps. But it's also what you do with it too. So yes, I'm very, what you said is perfect. You're right. It doesn't have to be from the top down. So I will keep that on the table. You're damn right.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited. I almost feel like, who knows? Maybe all of the other things that you've done is kind of leading up to this next chapter, which might unfold in a way that is more exciting than.
I believe so. When you start, I mean, just for the fact that you on the table being here, it's a different element. It's a different kind of viewpoint. So, hopefully you might not leave to New York too soon.
Yeah, I mean, I'm, yes, it's a question.
But I understand. I know, you got your story too now.
I'm trying, like it's, we'll see how that happens.
And trust me, I'm gonna be doing this for you when the time comes, so the favor will be returned, yes.
Oh, I don't even think of it as a favor, I think it's fun.
Yeah, oh, I love this stuff. No, these things I utilize.
Oh, great. Yeah.
Oh, heck yeah. Like I said, I realized even looking at other people's stories, somebody did this. Not all the time was it just a big
production.
Press, yes. A lot of it, especially like, I don't know if you're a Tupac fan.
Oh yeah, I love Tupac. Oh my god, Changes was the first rap song that I heard and I fell in love with it, and Changes.
Well, there you go. Well, me, I'm a big Tupac fan. I realized just looking down and doing my Tupac studies, it was just him with a camera. He was one of those few black guys that had a camera before, and of course that's a privilege. If you kind of track the cameras of how many people having access. For the fact that he had already scratched that surface as a kid, because you see he has an interview of him at 17 years old.
Oh, wow.
He was already comfortable with the camera.
Wow, yeah.
So when you're comfortable with the camera and kind of used to walking it around with it a lot, you're documenting everything. Hence why he's known as the king and one of the princes of hip-hop, is because he's one of the first to have it at that magnitude. So like even though it's playtime for me and you, Lord knows what this could be in the future. Yeah. Someone would be wanting to look at this all damn day behind whatever extra thing that was added after this moment. A hit song, a movie, who knows? To where now this thing and its value goes up on a whole nother level.
It's very true.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I'm very appreciative, you doing this.
Yeah. I mean, again, it just all the stars aligned.
Yeah. So when's your family come back again?
So when are they coming back? On Thursday, I think.
Thursday.
Yeah,
got a little few more party time.
I know. I mean, it's so crazy. I was up until like 2 o'clock last night, just like creating, working on music, and especially with the grandkids, because like when Esther's radiologist, so she's working. She has to wake up at usually around 6 or 7.
Oh wow, yeah.
I know. So
those
then
hours,
it's and then she has to sleep, and of course that's great. And I had this montage here, which helps to bridge that.
But ain't nothing like just
it's
blasting out.
Blasting and just singing your heart out. Nobody is paying attention.
Oh. That's how I feel at the studio. It's like it's a little standalone house. It's not like next door to nothing.
Yes, that's what I want. I just want my own. But that's why I'm not sure New York is even the place. Like I had this idea.
Well, you know what? When time comes, you have a moment to get away. I'll let you come to my studio just so you can see. Just sometimes it's just even though it ain't nothing like this, but still seeing a different element just kind of helps for. Okay, when I get my little how I want to do it, you know what I mean? I know the different realms are, damn, he's doing it like this and still does this. Those things help. Yeah, I used to go to like other artist studios or homes, and it just used to inspire me in a weird way, just
100%.
Yeah, so I know.
Anytime, anytime you're exposed to another person who's doing stuff that you appreciate and admire, it's very true. I'm trying to think. So for me, it was a process. Even like the setup that I have here, it's like the 10th iteration. Like when I was in New York, I had it in a particular way, and then I would move it and like move, and then now I have it perfectly
Just
configured,
like how you want.
exactly like
You need it to be.
I mean, it's not exact. If I had more space, I would just have the keyboard on the left, so it's like an L shape. So again, more space would create for better.
I love it. I love it right now. This is where it all started from. A lot of my beginning music days was this.
Oh, really? Well, this is not my I started again in New York, but this is like the site. Yeah, next. But yes, you were saying
those little corners. Like a lot of my songs, some of the stuff that people like, it's moments in times of this setup.
Yeah, right. Like you just kind of. So, what is your studio like?
I got one room that's just kind of this, and then the other room is just all kind of like my art stuff in there.
Okay.
Yeah.